Okay, let's just go for it. Right, so guys, I'm Luke. I'm the Emerging Talent Lead at Travelport. I'll let Georgina and Megan introduce themselves now.
Hi, I'm Megan. I was an intern at Travelport 2 years ago, and now I've come back as the secondary coordinator for the UK Internship Programme.
Hi, I'm Georgina. I'm the current intern at Travelport for talent and development.
Cool. I will add there, Megan hasn't just come back as a UK intern program coordinator. She's come back as a business analyst too. That's so guys, what we're going to do is just run through the Travelport experience as an intern, hopefully to entice you guys to apply and come on board, and then also share some tips throughout the process. If we could move to the next slide, please, Ali. Perfect. So I just wanted to run through a bit about who we are as a business. I'm sure everybody's heard of Travelport, right? We're a travel technology business, a travel commerce platform. I know what I'm saying to you means absolutely nothing. So hopefully over the next 5 minutes, we'll hopefully teach you a bit more. We're the intermediary, we're the middleman between two sets of our customers. We're purely business to business. The first set are travel providers and the second set are travel buyers. If we can move to the next slide, I can tell you a bit more about travel providers. Thank you. So our travel provider customers are companies such as airlines, hotels, car rental companies, rail lines, and what they do on our platform is they list their flight availability, their hotel room availability on our platform, so that we can then share that with our travel buyers. And we've just noticed some examples there of some of our customers, so EasyJet, Hertz, Marriott. I'm hoping that everybody's heard of those brands. So if we move to the next slide, we can chat about the travel buyers. So the travel buyers they're not me and you. They're the things that we use to buy travel. So travel agencies, online travel agencies, corporate booking tools for big companies, travel management companies. And what they do on our platform is they subscribe to our platform. So they have access to all of the providers' availability that we just spoke about. And some of those customers are Booking.com, American Express, Travel Republic. And if we move to the next slide, what we'll do is just tell you a little bit more about us. So from a business perspective and from a company, we have 4 business drivers and 4 values. So as a business, we put people first, which is really important. We like to keep things simple, try and avoid any complexity. At the same time, bold to win. If you've got any ideas, bring them on, and trying to stay one step ahead of the marketplace too. Technology is an ever-changing world, as I'm sure everybody's aware of now. Trying to stay one step ahead is a challenging feat, but it's one that we're always trying to accomplish. So if we move to the next slide. I'm hoping this is what you guys are really here for, to learn more about internships at Travelport. So 100% of our UK internships are based from our global HQ in Langley. We do 12-month-long placements. They'll start in August 2021. There'll be a 2-week handover with our current interns, and we've got opportunities in accounting and finance, customer marketing operations, business intelligence and data analytics, and human resources. They will be going live in a few weeks' time, and they'll be live until mid-January. In terms of where you can find them, there'll be that link there and the Rate My Placement website. And if we move to the next slide, what I'm going to do is just hopefully ask Megan to guide us through the 4 pillars.
Cool. So this year we've really made a big change in providing a more rounded support system for our interns. So you've obviously got your managers, you've got your team, you've then got mentors, which we allocate to you. We try and get someone who's in a different part of the business so you can get a bigger network, more experience, and they're there for anything you might need support with. And finally, there's the panel, which is myself, Luke, and a lady called Claire, and we're there to kind of guide the whole internship program as a whole and provide you with any extra support as well. Then there's 4 kind of key areas within the internship. There's your job role, where you'll do your day-to-day activities, your projects, etc. You then have CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. and UN goals. And this is where you will do fundraising events, you'll come up with initiatives that help support a UN goal within the company and really make an impact on not only Travelport, but the local community as well. How much have our interns raised, Luke, did you say, in total?
So since 2012, our interns have raised, I think it's just over £103,000 for local charities.
So, and obviously because they're such small charities, it really does make such a big impact on them. There's then internpreneurship, where we'll give you real business problems, and within teams, you'll actually come up with real business solutions. And if they're something really good and something we think we can implement, we will. So it's really good, and you can really make a big impact on the company through that. And finally, there's learning and personal development. Obviously, we'll be supporting your development throughout the whole thing, but we also provide specific personal development sessions as well, which are every few months throughout the internship program.
Perfect, thank you. And then just to touch on the CSR and UN goals as well, if possible, I'd just like to give Georgina some time now to talk about what the current intern batch are doing regarding CSR and regarding UN goals, and then hopefully what that will do is just give you a bit more flavour of what that really means.
So for the CSR and entrepreneurship and UN goals, we have a specific day where we all meet on a Wednesday. So before lockdown, we would all meet in the canteen area and we'd have our own sit and chat about what charity we want to go for and what UN goals we'd like to choose. For the charity, we've chosen to support a food bank, and they have areas all around the local community where we'll raise £5,000 this year because of the lockdown. It'll be harder to fundraise, but that's the challenge that we've set ourselves: get that money, and we get to plan the events. I know I spoke to some people yesterday in the booth about it, but we choose how we're going to fundraise, and that could be fun runs, bake sales. All of it is coordinating it differently this year because we can't get together as a big group and talk to the company. But instead, we'll have virtual events. We'll try and do quizzes. We'll send out leaflets on email and organise the charity that way. For the UN goals, we split down into smaller groups, so we actually get to work really closely with each other. And we choose what UN goal we'd like to support and then come up with an initiative for that. So last year, they came up with, I think they did Life on Land, and they ensured that we all had bamboo cups so that we didn't get coffee in cups that would just get thrown away. This year, my group's doing health and wellbeing, so we want to ensure that everyone's having a positive outlook for their physical and mental wellbeing because it's so important this year in particular. And we're cracking on with the internpreneurship next week, so I'll pass you back to Luke.
Yeah, thanks, Georgina. So I guess the overall message is that what we really want to do is try and empower all the interns we have to really make a difference to the business and really make a difference to the local community. It's a really bad corporate cliche, and I hope no other businesses actually do this anymore. But you don't just come to Travelport to make teas and coffees and go and make copies and things like that. I know from day one, Georgina has gone head first into about 75 different projects that she's now, I can pretty confidently say, why have I done this? But that's awesome. To be able to get that exposure is going to be invaluable to anybody going back to university, and then hopefully coming back to Travelport as a graduate. If not, then leaving with that experience to really propel you in your career. And we've not necessarily got a specific slide about it, but if Megan's up for it, what I want to do is just sort of pass to her to speak about the portfolio which we put in place this year, because she was a big inspiration behind it. So Megan, if you're okay to do that, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, sure. So we're quite keen on taking on feedback from our interns to really make sure we can improve it year on year. And some feedback we had in the past was that they'd like just a little bit more structure. So what we've developed is a learning portfolio. And what that does is every period of 3 months, you'll be supported by your manager and us and your mentors to build out a personal development plan with some goals set by the panel, some goals set by the manager, and some goals set by yourselves, both long and short term. And having that written down will really help us to know where we can help you to achieve your goals. And there's also a log for some of the work you've done, which is actually really useful for after you've left the placement and gone back to university, because I know quite a lot of universities ask you to do a reflective essay or something, and you have all of that there. You also have loads of examples for job interviews, etc. But it just helps you keep track of all the interesting work that you've done. There's also a skills log, so you can write, say, presentation skills, an example of when you've done it, and your reflections on this. And then that every 3 months, that'll be signed off by us and your manager to really make sure that not only you've been pushing your personal development, but we've been giving you enough support as well. And then there's also a section on your reflections on CSR and UN goals and entrepreneurship. So it really just is to make sure that you're getting as much out of the internship as possible and make sure we're giving you enough support to do so. And yeah, that's something you can take away, use for your uni essays, use for your job applications. It's really easy to forget all the really good things you've done, so it's nice to have a log with you as well.
University, I know will have blogs that we have to do or regular essays when you leave for a placement, and this personal development goes alongside that. So for me and many of the other interns, we have to do a blog to say what we do in our placement and how that helps us for the long term. And this personal development profile really helps with that, because you have to do this for Travelport, and it's so beneficial for the long term, and it helps with your uni because you can just copy it over.
Cool, thanks, Georgina. And then, so just around the portfolio, again, just to talk a little bit about what I did earlier, about coming back to Travelport as a graduate. We're designing a graduate program specifically for returning interns, and instead of applying with a CV and how you would normally apply for a graduate role, the portfolio will be the foundation of the application. So the efforts required throughout the 12 months that you're here, in order to then hopefully come back as a grad on our graduate program. Megan or Georgina, anything that you think that we've missed that we should cover?
No, nothing from me.
Cool. Okay, next slide, please, guys. So joining Travelport, when you arrive on your first day, we designed a 2.5-day workshop where you'll find all out about the world of Travelport and travel tech. You'll meet the panel, the executive sponsor of the program, and there's plenty of opportunity to get to know each other whilst learning too. Now, I think Megan's already touched upon it. We're always obtaining feedback. We're always thinking of ways to improve. So whilst we'd like to say we've got this nailed, I don't think we do, and that's just us being real. But we think it's pretty awesome anyway. And I'm gonna ask Georgina to sort of share her thoughts on the onboarding.
So when we arrive, we have initiations. So things like talking about the payroll team and the IT and people team, getting introduced to what there is available to help you at Travelport. But then we obviously also have the dreaded icebreakers that we all have to go through. But actually, they are really helpful because you get to get a feel for everyone and how the other interns will act in stressful situations. Because we get put into groups for presentations. Well, this is what I had. And we had to come up with a new idea that could shape the travel industry. So we'll use a different one next year because I've given this one away. And we came up with a wind turbine and a solar panel combined to help the traffic on the road. But that wasn't really the point. We had to actually work together, come up with something with people that you've never met before. It's a bit like the assessment centre. And then you have to present it to the panel, Claire, Luke and Megan, and a gentleman called Andy. And so we had this situation that this was on the first day, we'd never met the people, and it kind of gets you a feel for what you will be having to do, because you will work with your teams, people that you've never met before. And it's just like a fast track way to get comfortable. I really enjoyed it because I'm very chatty, and it's easy to get on with people when everybody wants to make friends. And you also have quizzes that we do, because it's a 3-day process that we had. And we do quizzes and you work together in your teams. And really, it's just getting a feel for everybody together as a group. Yeah.
Just to add to that as well, we did a lot of fun activities as well. We did Who Killed the Butler, all that kind of stuff as well. So it's a fun few days. There's the odd bit of admin, but we really try and make it as enjoyable and fun as possible to really make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously we didn't actually kill a butler, but I'm sure everybody knew that. If we go to the next slide, please. So you've seen these before, probably about 10 minutes ago. These are our drivers, these are our values, but these are what we're looking for. When it comes to technical skills and say Microsoft Excel, when it comes to the data analytics side of things, we can teach you guys that. It's not about the hard skills. For us, we're looking for people that do put people first. They're natural collaborators. We want people who are able to rationalize things and be efficient and keep things simple. We also want the people that are not afraid to go and break things and be a bit bold and try and redesign processes. And if you've got an idea, cracking, let's try and implement it. And then people that are smart in seeking opportunities and trying to move quickly with them, and that's staying one step ahead. I'll just add here, just going back to the being bold to win, and hopefully Megan will nod. If she doesn't, then it's a bit awkward, but there's not a hierarchical feel at Travelport, even though there's no such thing as, oh, you're just an intern. It just doesn't exist. The reason why we bring interns on board is because of the new way of thinking, because you guys have ideas that none of us can even fathom. So being bold is exactly why we have interns brought into the company.
I fully agree. And even as an intern, I would throughout the year, I was working with the heads of all the regions. I was working with so many senior employees. You get so much exposure. Even from week one, you're introduced to so many senior employees, and the interns it's quite a loved program within the company, and everyone is always willing to support you, willing to have chats with you, willing to build your network, and you really are treated as an employee and not just an intern.
Awesome. Next slide, please. So we'll be a bit quick with this one, but essentially we've got a really quick and efficient hiring process. It's just a case of apply. As long as you're a second-year student looking for a placement, you then get invited to a video interview, at which point we then watch that, we review those, and we invite you to something which we call a showcase day, which is it's like an assessment centre. However, an assessment centre has a bit of a stigma attached to it, where people think they're going to go along for 7 hours, emotionally broken and leave in a pool of sweat. So that's not what we're there to do. We want you guys to enjoy the process. We want you guys to really get a feel of what it's going to be like to be an intern at Travelport. And then from there, we'll then offer as many people as we can, and then it's day one. Just a couple of tips which I would share for any assessment centre, any showcase day, it's a massive cliche, but really be yourself. Don't force things. Don't be somebody you're not. If you get an offer based on a performance, essentially, that means that the person you showed up as is the person who got hired and the person that they'll expect every day. And if they've hired somebody else rather than you, that's not necessarily a good thing. I think one of the main things I've learned in my career is not every person is right for every company, and vice versa. Squares don't fit in circular holes and all that jazz. So it's about trying to find the right fit for both people. Put your curious hat on, ask questions, find out about everything. Georgina wore 2 curious hats on her day. I don't think I've ever heard as many questions, but that was awesome. And make sure you don't leave with any unanswered questions of your own. We've called it a showcase day because it's as much an opportunity for us to showcase ourselves to you as it is the other way around. Okay, you need to make that decision. It's a really important decision for you. So make sure that not only are you happy with what the role is, but you're happy with the culture, you're happy with the company too. Megan, Georgina, any other tips that you would share?
I just would add, I would just add that video interview always sounds quite scary, but it's really not. They're not like grilling questions. They're just little questions to learn more about you. And that's why I really like this application process, because it's not about, oh, what's your education? What are your skills? Blah, 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 blah. It's getting to know you as a person and getting to know if you're the right fit, because we can teach you all the hard skills. We can teach you all that, is really to get to know you as a person. So when you're doing the video interview, talk about something really interesting. Don't talk about business related stuff, talk about other stuff you're interested in. If you're interested in skiing, talk about that rather than your love for maths or something. So really just be yourself and make it interesting and memorable for us.
Georgina,
any tips that you would share?
I would probably just follow up on what you said about the curious hat. And just from my experience, I maybe asked too many questions. I do go crazy, but with the video interview, I'll follow up with what Megan said as well. I did my video interview in a hotel room when I was on my skiing holiday. So I just was like, okay, I'm feeling it now. I did the video interview. I was completely myself. And then I'm here.
The rest is history, as they like to say. Perfect. Thank you. The next slide, if we move on to it, I won't do much talking at all. But Megan and Georgina, if you could just possibly share both of your experiences, because they're quite different, just about the day in the life of a Travelport intern, the different things that you might get involved with.
Yeah, so as an intern, a day in the life is quite hard because you're doing so many different things that every day is completely different. But you obviously have your day-to-day work, but your managers really make an effort to make it as interesting as possible. You're getting constant training throughout your internship to make sure that you get as much out of it as possible. Again, you have lots of opportunity to work with the other interns too, doing your CSR, doing your UN goals, but you really are trusted with real work. Every day you're having meetings with new people. So it's hard to describe a single day because every day is so different, but it's a really, really good opportunity and you really can get a lot out of it.
So my days look very different to how Megan's would have, just because of constant lockdowns and localized lockdowns. But we are obviously based in Langley, as Luke said. We're 10 minutes from Windsor. So to actually live here is really nice. I'm the talent development intern. So a typical day would look like I work very closely with internal communications to ensure that our employees are being listened to and they know where they can find certain material. I work very closely with the people team as I'm a member of it. And so I will have full exposure to all areas of human resources. As an intern, I mentioned earlier, on a Wednesday, we all get together, but we also have a showcase page on LinkedIn. And so if you're interested, go and give that a follow. But we run that as an intern group, and we get to meet on a Monday and talk about the content that we're going to post for that week. And so you'll be able to see the what an intern gets up to, and what a day in the life of a Travelport intern will actually look like. You get to follow our journey all the way through. To follow up on what Megan said, the Travelport itself is a very supportive company. We are so flexible, and everyone really works closely as a team. You don't just work in your department, you work with lots of different departments, and your mentor will be in a different department so that you'll get a different experience with other people. So yeah, thank you.
Cool, thank you very much. I think we've got one more slide. Cool. So the elephant in the room, and what's even better about this slide is I didn't even think about the correlation, the fact that the picture was an elephant until just now. So are we going to be remote? Are we going to be in the office? We don't know. But the main thing that I just want to rest or put people's minds at rest is, if it's remote, if it is in the office, is it going to be a bit of both? It won't matter. We'll still work incredibly hard to get you the full intern experience that we are super proud to call ours. I know Megan's super passionate about it as well. Georgina is involved with hiring the next batch of interns. So if the past 4 weeks have been anything to go by, it will be an awesome process, and we'll be able to really give you guys that good experience. Just conscious of time, so happy to move on to the next slide, which is just about any questions.
Hello, it's Lizzie here from Rate My Placement. Hopefully, can you all hear me? Yeah, perfect. So it always takes a little bit of time when I click the share button. So I'm ready, I'm here. So I just want to say thank you, really interesting. Great to hear about Travelport as well, like the business behind it. It's one of those companies you don't know much about until someone takes the time. So thank you, really good. So I've got a few questions from the audience. If there's any more, we've probably got just shy of 10 minutes. So get them in the chat and I can have a look. So yeah, lots of questions for you. So I'm going to kick off with one that I think a lot of our audience is feeling now. So everyone's trying to think about which is the best employer to apply to, what really suits them. So I would love to ask Georgina and Megan, what actually inspired you? If you go back to when you were applying, like what really inspired you about Travelport? So maybe Megan, can we start with you, if that's all right?
Yeah, sure. So I think firstly, the application process really kind of made me feel like this is a company I'd like to work for, because most other companies that I applied for just didn't really get to know me as a person at all before even the assessment centre. But Travelport really made an effort to get to know me. And during the assessment centre, everyone was so friendly and welcoming. And also, I think as well, the industry is just quite interesting. You see a lot of business to customer, but gaining some experience in business to business is really interesting process. The office is very nice as well, so it's a nice space if you get to go to it. But everyone's just super friendly, and even when we got like a tour around the office, everyone was just like, oh, hello, you must be the new interns. And it's just such a welcoming place, and you could just tell from the application process that they really were ready to support you, and they really made an effort to get to know you as a person. So I felt that fit.
Yeah, really good. It feels like a very warm place to work.
It really is. It's not formal at all. Like it's a very relaxed environment, and it's really enjoyable.
Awesome. Georgina, anything else from you?
Mine's very similar. So that the team, you can tell, is very friendly, and the communication that you had, they kept the communication from the video interview to the assessments, to the showcase day, and then from day one. So you would speak to them all of the time. And obviously, because lockdown was happening and the placement got pushed back just because it was so uncertain, I spoke to Luke. Whenever I had a worry, I'd be on the phone to Luke, and Luke would be there. So it's nice to know that they would support you even when you hadn't even officially started yet. They were there, wanted you, and you can tell. I think with this company, they value the interns completely. And I didn't want to just be going and photocopying or making cups of tea. I'd been to other interviews and things, and this is where it resonated with me, because I wanted to be part of this company because they cared about me, not filling a role. They wanted to have the interns and all of the interns together. So yeah.
Oh, amazing. Great insights. Love that. So Luke, one for you. So Hannah in the audience has asked, would you be willing to offer a similar internship program for students who are due to graduate in 2021, or is it specifically placement students you're looking for? Any thoughts on that?
So right now, we do just have approval for placement students. I mentioned the graduate program earlier, which it's designed for interns to come back, but it doesn't mean that we wouldn't look for people graduating in 2021. I guess that's just a bit of a case of watch this space and keep an eye on the website. I'm really happy for anybody to drop me an email, and we'll stay in touch. And I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Awesome. Yes, it's been such an uncertain year, hasn't it? And I think it's just one of those things that students are just like, what opportunities are there? So it's great to know there's a lot of potential there.
Just to quickly add on to that as well, Travelport does hire people who have just graduated as well, not necessarily for a graduate program, but if there's, like, for example, like mine, a business analyst role, I didn't come in through a graduate program. I did the internship obviously and came through that, but also have a look at just the regular jobs that are available as well. So it's worth having a look at those as well, because it's not just through the grad program that we hire graduates.
Yeah, really good point. Love that. So we've got loads of questions coming in, so I'm just going to go for them. We've got about 5 minutes left. Application process. Will this be completely online due to the current situation?
As of right now, yes, but we don't know what we don't know what December looks like, let alone January. We would look to hold the showcase days probably late Jan, early Feb. If we can get people in the office, then we will. That will probably be a socially distanced showcase day, which is absolutely fine. We can do that. But right now, we just don't know. I guess if we can, we'll get people in. If we can't, then it will be fully remote. But we're just working through the process of hiring our Dublin interns at the moment, and that has been a fully remote process, and it's gone pretty smoothly. So,
oh, well done. I guess we all have to adapt in these situations, don't we? So, if only we knew, that would be great. Cool. Okay, really good. So, lovely question here. I think you've covered quite a lot about it already, because things like the development plan, that sounds brilliant. But it would be great to kind of get your thoughts about how you see Travelport, and how Travelport compares to its competitors. Like, what sets you apart from other companies? Who wants to go for that one? Open question.
Do you mean in terms of the intern experience or just in general?
I mean, to be fair, for both, because I think it's really nice to kind of see Travelport as a company, how it compares, but also as an internship.
I can talk about how Travelport compares to its competitors, in that obviously through being in the travel industry, this is a difficult time. However, we're still continually innovating. We're currently working on building a whole new platform. We haven't stopped moving throughout this entire lockdown process, and I think that's what sets Travelport apart, is our continuous drive to improve and our care for our customers as well. I think that's what really sets Travelport apart from that perspective.
Yeah, sounds really good. And then would you say anything, Georgina, from your side? What sets it apart from other, I guess, any of your friends that have been on internships? Like, what are you loving about being there?
So I have close contact to somebody who's at one of our competitors, and not confidentiality wise, obviously, but he's also on placement, and he likes the sound of my internship, because we have all of the social events. We have quite a close bubble with all the interns, because we have internpreneurship and the UN goals. we all work together as interns. And I think that's quite a unique position to have as a company. Not many other companies do that. You jump in and you work in your role, whereas we continuously work together and interdepartmental as well.
Yeah, no, I guess, and yeah, I can just see it from all the projects and things you've been talking about. It seems there's a lot of exposure, which is really key on an internship replacement, because you want to learn, don't you, as much as you can. So, okay, final question, because we're literally at 45. So I think this is a great question. I'm going to go with what are your best bits of working at Travelport? We've also got what are your worst bits. So if there are any worst bits, but I like positive. So what best bits? All of you, what would you say? Let's go around. So Luke, what would you say?
The best bit about working at Travelport, there's a coffee bar for a start, and I love coffee. So that's probably number one. Number two, Megan really touched upon it earlier, but I really can't stress it enough. The culture is not stiff. It's not too corporate. It's not too white collar. As I said, I rarely feel a sense of hierarchy. I mean, naturally, personally, if I walk past the CFO, I'm a bit like, okay, wow. But that's just me. But they'll talk to people. Just the overall culture of the office, I think, is awesome. And it's just being able to have those interactions, like where you meet somebody on the stairs and then 25 minutes later, you've just had a random catch up. It's those interactions which break up the day and they make it just feel a bit more, it's a big cliche, but a bit like a family. Maybe not that strong, but you don't necessarily feel like you're just going to work. You're going to sit at your desk for X amount of hours a day and then that's it. And also just the fact that ideas get taken on board and you really do have a chance to add value. But I guess the main takeaway from that was it's great coffee. So
I love it. Always good. Georgina and Megan, anything? I'm going to push you for time, sorry, but I'd love to know your best bits.
I agree with Luke on the culture. Like, it's very relaxed. The CEO does all our big company calls wearing a t-shirt, and it's just very relaxed. And he'll smile at you in the corridor, and yeah, it's just like you're just always supported. You're always got someone to talk to, and it's just a nice environment.
I'll sum up what both Megan and Luke have said, but we have all company calls, and I think that's quite a rare thing to sit down and have the CEO talking to you and the senior leadership talking to you. And as an intern, I'm on that call. That's quite a big thing, because you do have that connection with everyone in the team. And if I wanted to, I could message the CEO and I'm sure he would reply. So it's very open, and that's what I love about it.
Awesome. Well, what a way to end. I can feel the positive vibes from you on how I guess valuable you feel at Travelport. So it's been so lovely to chat. Thank you very much for all of those questions, answering them. What I'm going to suggest is, if you've got any more questions, head over to the booth, and then you'll be able to answer some of those. So enjoy. Thanks again, everyone, and speak to you all soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.